Okay, so now we're going to shift to, um, you know, some examples that I've been involved in, and I've been involved in many. I think I've been involved in more than 80 different uh, organization level digital transformations that involve either DevOps, continuous testing, DevSecOps, or SRE. And each of those have multiple value streams. I've probably been involved in many different value stream mapping exercises, more than that. So these are some examples. Here is one that's a pretty simple value stream map. This was a large religious, global religious organization. They wanted to reduce. They were actually pretty advanced. They had a digital archive application for their church data. They wanted to reduce the time from, this point where the code was unit tested until it was validated in deployment environment from 14 hours to 7 hours. Frankly, I was impressive that it was only 14 hours. They were already fairly advanced, and this was their current. After the workshop, this was the current state value stream map for that organization. And you can see it was not exactly your traditional pipeline. They were doing coding unit tests, functional testing after that, and then deploying, preparing deployment, integrating, and then system testing and deployment and validation. Um, the 14 hours, you can see where the major time was being spent. It was in creating tasks and then preparing the test environment. That was 7 hours and 3 hours. So that was 10 hours out of the 14 already. And then, the next biggest was, I guess, running some tests. Um, so after we got this map and agreed to it with everybody involved in the discussion, we said, well, what could we do about this? How could we turn it into 7 hours instead of 14 hours? So everybody agreed that tackling the largest bottlenecks through automating test environments, merging the functional and acceptance test stages into one integration stage, which just make a more traditional, pipeline looking pipeline would be good. So that's how we decided the future state would look. Okay, another example was a large financial firm. In this case, they wanted to reduce the time from backlog all the way to production from 21 days to 10 days. Um, and so, we spent quite a lot of time with a large group deciding, what are the major contributing factors for the timings for their value stream? What is the value stream? What are the major contributing factors? In this case, the 21 days, a lot of it was in test creation and coding, a little bit on training for new features before that. Functional testing and regression testing was 4 to 5 days. And there was a large gap of wait time setting up between functional testing and doing acceptance testing of 8 hours, 8 to 16 hours. So after that, creating this current state, we said we needed to attack those gaps. And again, in this case, it was to automate the test environment setup, apply test-driven development methodologies to improve the test creation, and get some, other people helping through the development, participating in that, automating test execution more, so there wouldn't be such a big gap here. Um, and that was targeted. The current future state value stream map, that would get it down to 10 days. I don't have time to go through all the different tests we did, but that gives you an idea. Another example, a network appliance manufacturer, they already had continuous flow, but they, like a lot of organizations, hadn't, they put off integrating the security controls into their pipeline. They wanted to get a pipeline working first and then integrate security controls. So they were already quite far advanced in their continuous flow, and they wanted to now say, okay, now we're ready to include security. The trouble with that is they've already got some expectation as to what their flow rates are, release frequency and lead times, and adding in security controls was only going to slow things down, which wasn't acceptable. So I'm not going to show you the whole work effort here, but the idea was, if you think about adding security controls at every step in the value stream, there's a lot of things. I'm not going to go through all of these, but let's say you wanted to add, I don't know, pen test automation and continuous delivery. That needs to be automated, or it could slow things down. So you have to be careful of getting too far ahead of yourself without thinking about security if you have applications that are security sensitive and have risks. Don't leave it to the last minute, otherwise you may end up having to, if you like, back up and slow down your pipeline later, which may not be nice from different points of view to have to back up. So I always profess that you should, even at the beginning of a DevOps transformation, think about security. This idea of not only DevSecOps, but SecDevOps, where you're thinking of security right up front.